Radiant team ban.
What is up? I'm NYJohn, and we're here with the Dota 2 Canada Cup playoffs. We have Molotov Esports versus Artyk, and they will be our first best of three here. The winner of Group A in Molotov, and the second place victor from Group B in Artyk. Artyk narrowly escaping the group phases after suffering a devastating loss to Root Gaming early on in the procedures Sunday. And we do see some bans are already underway here. I, of course, am NYJohn, and this beautiful tournament has been brought to you by Dota2.ca. Be sure to check out the store and purchase a ticket for only $1. But let's see what is going on in game right now. Bans from Artyk were OD as well as Treant Protector. Artyk have been adamant about banning out this OD every single game that I've seen them so far in this tournament, and OD is certainly a warranted ban. This is a trend we're going to see start develop more and more in the competitive scene because of the fact he is such a strong laner. Then, of course, Treant ban kind of explains itself. They're going to follow that up with a Nature's Prophet ban as well. On the flip side, Molotov, they have banned out Lone Druid, Batrider, Dragon Knight, and now Darkseer. Pretty solid bans across the board. We can look at the picks. We see Wisp and Puck were picked up by Artyk in the first picking phase. Lifestealer and Shadow Demon from Molotov. They add Nyx Assassin now. This is similar to what they were using the other day to get their team going. Molotov, of course, the victors of two really lopsided games. They didn't find anyone a true competitor to their likings, as they were able to use a lineup that consisted of Lifestealer, Shadow Demon, Nature's Prophet, and a couple other key tools to assert themselves not only in the laning phase, but in a global sense as the game progressed. And we'll see if Artyk can find something to try and stop that from happening again. Of course, Nyx Assassin is going to be a very mobile hero. We'll see if he gets laned up in the mid or as a support once we actually jump into the game, or maybe a couple picks will indicate that. But they're set to have a really strong aggressive tri lane if they like to, between the Shadow Demon, Nyx, and Lifesteal already. So a couple of key pieces are already in play for them. Of course, Artyk, sitting on the puck, are able to ban out some solo middle options now from Molotov, since they will be looking for that. They also have a confident mid laner that's going to be good in most matchups, and having the Wisp as well is going to be tremendous for them. Of course, a great support and lots of options still available for that Wisp for them to combo up and get some aggression going. The main problem I'm seeing right now is that Molotov seems to be screaming aggressive tri-lane, and aggressive tri-lanes usually go particularly well against the Wisp support because he is susceptible to a lot of damage early on in the game and doesn't output too much of his own in return. So we'll have to see if that is going to be a factor. Maybe they're going to get a couple of safer laning heroes. Keeper Light is still available in the pool. If you put him with the Wisp, it's a little bit harder to dive because of the fact that you have those Illuminate spams coming out. And then, of course, if you add in a hero that's a little bit more tanky, like a Chaos Knight, that would be an ideal combination with the Wisp. You can have something going for you in that regard. So we'll see if that is along the lines of what Artyk are going to opt for in a moment here. We're waiting for this pick from Artyk, and it's going to be Bounty Hunter. So a couple of teams have been valuing Bounty Hunter pretty high. Of course, he did receive a slight buff in the last patch, I believe, but also inadvertently nerfed a little bit because Dust is a little better. And since he doesn't get that bonus move speed from his invisibility, it can be a tough life for him in some instances, especially as an offlaner. He doesn't get all too much any longer. The days of Bounty Hunter being one of the best offlaners have come and passed, but Artyk, seeing that it looks like Molotov want to go aggressive tri-lane, are probably thinking they can match this Bounty Hunter up in a 1v1 and let the dice roll. Of course, we do see a couple more picks on the back end. Chaos Knight will be added to the Wisp. That is pretty straightforward. One of the original combinations of those two heroes, of course, and that will work out well early on. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Molotov's aggressive tri-lane to net some victories if they do end up going through with that, because Chaos Knight's a little bit more tanky and has those big disables, of course. And now Skywrath Mage is picked up by Molotov as well. Based on their lineup, this Skywrath is probably going to go middle, and then a Warlock pick to round it up. We also missed a couple bans. Enigma and Rubik were banned out in the 5th slots for either team. So this Warlock pick, this is similar to what a couple other teams have been running recently. I think most recently Quantic today used a Warlock in an unorthodox capacity. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to speculate exactly how they're going to try and line this up because I don't know where they're going to put each hero, but this is a unique lineup that has a whole lot of teamfight potential because of the Warlock. Bringing him in, having the Skywrath Mage in the middle of the fight, they have Shadow Demon, Nyx Assassin, both going to be good defensively and offensively, with that Carapace as well as Disruption, and then being able to initiate with Demonic Purge and Vendetta will be nice. And Lifesteal, of course, has natural synergy with this Nyx Assassin for the Nyx bombs, and the pick from Artyk is going to be Keeper of the Light. So their roster was pretty straightforward. If perhaps Molotov was looking at this draft the same way I was, seeing this tri-lane come out, Keeper of the Light is there to try and help them be a little bit more stable on the defensive, and I think it could work out for them. Of course, Keeper of the Light's going to work out pretty well with Chaos Knight too, since he can provide that mana, allow for the disables, whether it be the Chaos Bolt or the Reality Rift, to be available most of the time. The question is going to be how this bottom lane matchup goes. It's going to be Bounty Hunter versus maybe Warlock. I'm not sure. Once again, I don't want to speculate. We'll wait and see exactly where they go. Well, I just want to remind everyone this is the Dota 2 Canada Cup Molotov Esports versus Artyk, and a match of the South American teams. We have Brazil versus Peru in what's going to be our first best of 3 of the playoffs. So excited to see exactly how this game is going to play itself out. We'll start by introducing one of the favorites of the tournament who got upset earlier on in the group stage but still made it through to the playoffs, Artyk. And we do have Mihawk on Bounty Hunter. He's going to be headed to that offlane. It looks like Smash will be playing Puck. Smash with a magnificent performance yesterday all around on every hero we saw him play, so got to give him props. We also have Masuko playing Keeper of the Light. It looks like Belial will be on Chaos Knight, and that leaves Misko on the Wisp. Meanwhile, for the flip side, we have Molotov, our Radiant team, a team that steamrolled through its competition on day 1 of the Dota 2 Canada Cup group stages. Klotz will be playing Lifestealer, a hero he played in both of those games. Baga on Shadow Demon. Deeks will be playing Skywrath Mage. Yuka will be playing Nyx Assassin, and Tavo on the Warlock. And Warlock is certainly set up to be a farming hero. It looks like, having picked up a Ring of Protection, spent a lot on regen, it's probably going to be poised to solo this bottom lane. I'd expect, if we're looking at these supports to try and figure out exactly where they're going, it looks like Nyx Assassin actually not a support. He's going to solo middle, so Deeks is going to be a support. This may change whether or not they want to do an aggressive lane, but nope, they're sticking with the 3 top. So interesting decision for them to put that Nyx Assassin solo middle, deciding to let Skywrath be a support instead. Of course, Skywrath as a support offers a good amount of utility, since he does output a lot of damage and have long-range abilities. However, the problem being is that he is really mana-dependent, especially as you get to later phases of the game, and not having farm could definitely hinder his ability to get to that place where he's happy and has enough farm. Klotz is going to be left on top lane for the time being, as Mihawk has rotated up here, so it looks like they're going to opt to have a solo and give both of these supports down to the Warlock on bottom. So interesting laning phase already, as a couple of switches are put forward early on here. We do hear an Illuminate spamming off, as there was vision on the supports rotating in, so clever play by Masuko to make sure he can get some free damage on them whenever he can. This is not the typical tri-lane you go aggressive with. That being said, it seems like having faced up against the Warlock instead of a Lifestealer, they're a little bit more safe. Of course, either team has to be a little bit cautious. Getting caught out would be devastating. Pause comes out from Wisp. Right now, we're going to have a quick break, it looks like. It looks like I had to fix the Dota TV thing again. For whatever reason, some of the settings in Dota tend to reset themselves every time you close the client, just to frustrate you a little bit. And they fixed it with smooth drag, so hopefully eventually they'll fix it with the other settings as well. And anyone in Dota 2 TV, of course, I want to give a shout out to. Thank you for purchasing the ticket, and I hope you're hearing me clearly now. And we're looking at the stats from really early on in the game. You can see Smash 3-2 on the middle lane against Nyx Assassin, who's only 1-1. This is a lane that's naturally going to favor Puck. Puck with a great animation, with good base damage. You can see he's up 6 in that department as well. Able to just apply a little bit more harass and has better spammable abilities to get the CS as well. And good mobility early. I mean, this is going to be a lane that your Nyx Assassin ideally is just trying to make it out of with equal experience, getting whatever last hits he can, but can't get too greedy. I think Nyx Assassin will be wary of that. Top lane, Bounty Hunter versus Lifestealer. it's another matchup where both heroes should be able to get their farm, really. There's not too much kill potential early on here, especially Bounty Hunter with the invisibility can disengage whenever he deems necessary. Lifestealer may take a little bit of harass from Bounty Hunter here and there, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal as both of them are trading. It looks like Bounty Hunter has fallen behind a little bit, but we're still in the first wave, so it's hard to actually speculate. It looks like this wave is almost full. Meanwhile, the bottom tri-lane is where we're going to switch our focus to. Having Skywrath Mage in the tri-lane is interesting because Arcane Bolt has huge range, of course. It does decent damage, but these are two abilities that, I mean, they're not that great in the laning phase unless you're 1v1. Against the tri-lane, you can harass a little bit, but you're going to regen pretty effectively, especially with a Wisp with some regen. He could pass that off onto one of his teammates through the tether. So, curious to see exactly how this Skywrath support's going to work out for Molotov. This is a very awkward problem because if this tri-lane does not go in their favor, you have 3 in heroes down here that are going to be really in trouble considering the fact that you're up against a Wisp and a CK, not to mention the fact that they have a Bounty Hunter. So these are heroes that love to gank off these int heroes if they don't get good starts. So this is seeming like a do-or-die tri-lane, and there is a lot of harass damage coming out here on Chaos Knight. He's actually dropping pretty low, but we'll see the regen come into play in a moment. He should be just fine, as Keeper Light did leave the lane for a moment there. Keeper Light in an aggressive tri-lane, though, of course, the risk of spamming off the Illuminate is going to keep it pushed, so it should be a decent lane for Warlock to get his farm in that regard as well. Meanwhile, back at the middle lane, it looks like Nyx Assassin has burned through a lot of his regen already. He did go very conservative item picks, so he's going to be able to have that bottle coming out to him in a moment. Looks like Puck has not gotten the bottle yet as he spent most of his gold, and as such, he's going to maybe fall behind on regen. It depends who's going to get this first rune at the 2-minute mark. There's some more harassment's going to come on to Smash here. He actually gets stunned off. Really well played by Yuka. Yuka's going to continue on, get the harass damage, but there is an orb available as well as a phase shift, so the kill won't go through. Puck's going to turn around and just get a couple of harass damage hits, but that was well played on the part of Nyx Assassin. Masuka's going to rotate and find the illusion rune, so he's going to deny that rune from Yuka. So Yuka getting punished a little bit because of the active role of the supports on the side of Artyk. And you can see this bottom lane being so far pushed. It is rather comfortable as it is right now. They're going to bring in both of these illusions and use them just to harass. It looks like top lane trading hits. Mihawk drops pretty low. He has to be careful, but with that invisibility, there's no real risk of him dropping here unless he misplays this horribly. Meanwhile, bottom lane, there is the first blood. They did go in for the dive. Shadow Demon is actually going to drop. So Shadow Demon actually kills Chaos Knight, And Misko just barely living. He does have the Fatal Bonds on him, so he's taking some extra damage, but he's surviving. It looks like he'll be fine. So I missed the action. I apologize for that, but it looked like it was a dive onto Warlock, but Warlock survived, maybe using Shadow Word on himself. Who knows exactly how it went down. Disruption could have came into play as well, and there it is. They're going to go for it again. They're going to jump on top of Tavo. Tavo's going down rather quickly this time, and now Chaos Knight makes no blunder about it. He gets his redemption kill, and it's 1-1 in this tri-lane down. Baga not being on top of the Warlock, unable to throw down a disruption and save his teammate for a moment. Top lane Mihawk gets jumped on by Klotz, but he's going to back off freely as he pops off the invisibility. I would really love to see Klotz pick up some early detection here. He's going to go for the Orb of Venom actually to be able to harass a little bit more effectively, and that will be a nice pickup for him in getting some more lane control. He already is doing very well. You can see 18 for 3 against 14 for 1, so has a slight lead, but he is 19 CS at 4 minutes. Definitely going to be proud of that number. Smash in the middle lane is going to go on top of Yuka. Yuka taking a lot of damage here. He pops off his Carapace, and a good timing by Smash is actually going to get the illusory orb after the Carapace is down, and Smash is going to get this kill on top of Nyx Assassin. So really well executed by Smash. He was patient there, waited for the Spike Carapace to go down, and was able to convert the kill on Nyx Assassin, getting himself a big lead on this middle lane now. We can see he's 18 for 10 in CS, already up 7 CS, and now a kill on top of that. So Puck is having a good time here. 2-1 early in favor of Artyk over Molotov Esports. Looking back at this tri-lane, it feels tense down here. You can see Chaos Knight is now tethered up, looking for an opportunity to Reality Rift, and Baga is on hand now, so it looks like even though they had dewarded initially, a secondary ward was placed here from Artyk to make sure that that spawn for the pull was not available. Top lane, it looks like he's going to purchase a quelling. Middle lane, there's a little bit of an engage. Smash is getting whatever harass damage he can. Not going to attack the Carapace again. Very patient. There's a Dream Coil, though. And now Yuka, once again, is in a bad spot. Smash does over-jump this a little bit, but Waning Rift has already been used. Yuka's going to turn around, get a stun on Smash, and actually drain most of his mana. But this should be the end of that. Smash is going to take a tower hit, but he'll phase shift it instead. Throw on the overlay because why not? Once again, thanks to everyone that's joining me. I'm NYJohn. This is the Dota 2 Canada Cup playoff stages. Klotz on the top lane is going to attack Mihawk under the tower. He doesn't get hit by the tower, however, so well played by him. Mihawk is staying very low. He has picked up a bottle to get some extra regen, but you can see Lifestealer has full control over this lane, now almost doubling up Mihawk in terms of CS. Tower's going to get some hits. Mihawk does have track now, so this could be a part of the game where he starts to roam. Lifestealer is not the fastest or most efficient pushing hero, so taking a couple of risks here and there, roaming to make sure your tri-lane is going to get a great advantage down there would not be a bad idea, or even going middle. Smash has gotten close to getting that second kill on Yuka already solo, so if he's able to join in, that should certainly guarantee the kill and get some bounty track gold going for his team. Meanwhile, bottom lane, it looks like Chaos Knight is level 4, Wisp is level 4, so good levels coming for the side of Artyk right now. Level 3 on the supports on Molotov side, and that's just going to be because of the fact that this lane has just been controlled really well by Artyk's players. You can see the CS is pretty even, but since the Chaos Knight is here with Reality Rift, with Chaos Bolt, they're very hesitant to step up into this lane. It's going to require Yuka to get involved, and now he does have Vendetta available, but it's going to be pretty obvious if he leaves middle lane at this stage of the game where he's going, and sentries have been placed from either team, which could detect the potential invasion from Yuka if he would like to try and transition over there. Mihawk has made his way back towards the top lane, so not interested in ganking quite yet. Klotz had to go back to the base, will purchase up Phase Boots, so he's going to have some extra damage and mobility early on in this one. We'll head over to our net worth and see just who leads. It's going to be Smash, who actually has a double damage rune in his bottle as well. He's leading by a narrow margin over Lifestealer, but it looks pretty even. Yuka's in trouble here. He gets silenced before he can even pop off the Carapace. And now a second auto attack should do the job, but he pops off the Vendetta. Will survive. He's going to try and initiate on Smash here. He gets the Vendetta damage, but now it looks like he's going to pop off the Carapace, and a brilliant kill from Yuka. Meanwhile, initiation happening on bottom lane. It looks like Wisp has gone down. Warlock getting that kill, and now Lifestealer is going to get a kill on Chaos Knight as well, TPing in to be a part of the fight. It's 3 heroes dead for Artyk. Molotov looking strong. The open wounds is going to find Masuka here. Rage popped on top of it, and the auto attacks from Klotz is going to net him another kill on top of Keeper of the Light. On the bottom lane, response TP, a role you would expect to see come out from Bounty Hunter, making his way down there and getting involved in the action, but instead it looked like the dive went on, and Lifestealer turned that fight around by TPing down there and getting a couple of kills for his team. So things going really well for Molotov in that last sequence of a minute and a half or so. We have Masuka coming in from the bottom lane. Here is Mihawk's first sign of roaming. He actually has a haste rune in his bottle, so he's going to do whatever he can to come in to this bottom lane, and this is definitely a good idea. I mentioned the fact that there's 3 int heroes down here on the side of Molotov. Of course, one of them is missing right now. That's going to be the Shadow Demon, who isn't in the lane, but Deeks, only level 4, is going to get spotted off here by Mihawk and a couple other heroes in the area. In fact, 4 heroes from Artyk, but it looks like Deeks is just gonna quietly deke away from this invisible Mihawk. So a little bit of luck there, but Deeks is heading towards middle to throw down a ward as well as get into the lane. Here Mihawk still persists. He's going to follow, but an infested Nyx assassin is going to turn around, spot off the bounty hunter, so they know he's here. Smash is going to get silenced as well. They're going to try and go on top of him. No, instead he's just going to break the infest, and Klotz is going to rotate back top to try and find some more farm. Mihawk's not done yet, though. He's going to head back towards the bottom lane where Tavo is sitting under the tower, not quite level 6 yet. Shadow Demon's only level 4, and this is going to be a couple of kills for Artyk, unless the response comes quickly, and it's not quick enough. There's no TPs. Tavo gets hit by a 3-second Chaos Bolt. He is going to die. Wisp picking up that kill, and the disruption on Wisp is not going to be enough to save his teammate. I'm surprised Baga is still surviving. Here's the track, and now they'll pursue onto him as well. Still no response coming out from the side of Molotov. They're going to let this go, and Baga is going to drop here as well. We can see it looks like Deeks just had gone back to the base. Middle lane, Yuka's pushed in pretty hard. And top lane, Klotz not giving in the effort to go bottom that time. And a couple of easy kills for Artyk. Middle lane, we have an engage. Smash is taking some damage from Yuka. He's going to pop off the Vendetta. Yuka does get silenced. He doesn't have enough mana to follow up with any other abilities. And it looks like Smash will make it out of here safely. He's going to turn around and maybe try and get this kill onto Yuka. But he has to be careful, knowing the Spike Carapace could once again spell his doom. Bottom lane, Tavo is going to take some extra damage from an Illuminate here. He is still only level 5, so they desperately need that Golem to come into play, and it will in a couple of CS. So we're looking for this level 6 on Warlock, and then they could try and be a little bit more team fight central. Top lane, the track is out on Klotz. TP's coming in as well. Smash from the back end with a double damage active. He's going to silence him, and Klotz stands no chance against this gank coming out from Artyk. So Artyk are evening the score now, 5-5 in terms of hero kills, as they pick off Klotz alone on the top lane with the help of Puck and Wisp joining Bounty Hunter. They're going to get some good gold from that as well because the Bounty Hunter getting the track off. So we can take a look at our net worth. We still see Puck in first. Despite the death, Klotz is in second. But now Bounty Hunter has made his way up to the top 3. And not far behind him is the Chaos Knight, who has picked up a Helm of Iron Will and will probably be building towards that early armlet, which of course is a very popular pick on him. We're also looking for level 6 on a couple of these heroes. Wisp is level 6, but opts not to take the relocate for whatever reason. He's going to delay that a little bit. Skywrath will get that Mystic Flare at level 6, would be a pretty key skill for him to have, but he is not there yet. He's at level 5, and Shadow Demon at level 4 is struggling to find experience as well. Warlock has a rock available if he wants to try and get something going on this bottom lane. However, it looks like Nyx Assassin is content with staying middle, pretty low on mana as well. Misko is going to make his way towards his bottom lane, where a couple of his teammates are already poised to strike. Smash is there with a Dream Coil available. So this is going to be a dangerous dive, though, going into a Warlock Golem. It can definitely get turned around, and Klotz is going to have to TP, but he doesn't have it for 18 seconds. So this could be the timing that Artyk are looking for to try and be aggressive down here, but instead Mihawk's going to be forced to TP out as Klotz is applying extra pressure here, and Smash will rotate out as well. So no pressure on the bottom lane. They're not going to force the fight. Instead, they're just going to try and take down the tower. Tower is dropping pretty quickly, but without any real source of taking it down really efficiently. They're just going to back up. Don't want to tank it any further. There is a TP in from Yuka as well. So Nyx Assassin comes to the bottom lane, but doesn't have enough regen, so he doesn't have the Vendetta available, which is going to be a little bit frustrating for him. Top lane, Klotz is going to go on top of Mihawk. Still doesn't have detection, so Mihawk not really at a threat for dying. He's going to spam off a couple abilities since he does have a full bottle, so why not go ahead and use what you have. Yuka's struggling in terms of farm. This is what I was talking about early on in the game for this lane matchup. Puck just dominates a lot of heroes middle, and Nyx Assassin, despite the fact that he got the kill, it went back. It was 1-for-1 in terms of the kills strictly middle, and I mean, he just doesn't have the CS that Smash has. And here we see an engage is going to come on top of Yuka, and Yuka is dead from Puck's last hit. Really easy kill once again. Just the walk in from the Chaos Knight. Now Klotz is going to turn around, try and put autos on top of Belial, but that is a risky move. He has to infest a creep, and he pops out here. Does not have rage available, but it doesn't look like Belial can get in range for a Chaos Bolt, so he should be okay. This tier 1 tower in the middle is going to be the first tower down in the game, and now Klotz does get jumped on. He pops off the rage and is walking away. Should be fine. Tavo hasn't used a rock yet. This is another one of those abilities you think similar to an Enigma's Black Hole, Magnus's Reverse Polarity. You want to use it as often as possible, especially early on in the game. Even if you could use it for only one kill here or there, it is a valuable skill to put into play. And not having seen Tabo do that, even though he's been level 6 for a while, now level 7, almost 8, it's a little bit of a curious situation. I know he's been pressed back in this lane, but you really want to find an opening. Middle lane, them diving that tower, there was a chance for him to TP in, maybe get a rock down, and turn it around to fight with Nike's Lifestealer, in the middle. But instead he opted not to. So curious decision making in some respects, because you want to just maximize that ability by using it as often as possible. We do have an engage here. It looks like someone's going to try and TP out. In fact, that was Bounty Hunter trying to get out as Klotz dropped down a sentry and was piling on the damage. Smash responded with a TP. There's a blink here, but he's jumping into way too many heroes. Had no idea who was here. Smash is now getting silenced, so he can't jump to the illusory orb. He's in trouble. Klotz is going to pop out the rage and try and retreat out of here. Vendetta Strike from Yuka is going to net a kill there. Shadow Demon has been taken down as well. Belial's looking for Reality Rift onto Klotz. It is going to pull him back. Klotz is just going to try and man-fight this as he goes on top of Belial, but a 3-second stun from the Chaos Bolt is going to spell doom for Lifestealer, but Belial not going to escape with his life as Yuka and Deeks respond. So it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade, I believe, with Puck, Chaos Knight, Lifestealer, and Shadow Demon going down. So if you think in terms of the significance of those heroes, it's a fight that probably benefits Molotov a little bit, considering Mihawk wasn't a part of the fight. He had to TP out initially, so there weren't any tracks in play, which definitely would have changed that to a lopsided victory in favor of the Dire. But him being all the way back in the well, couldn't get there in time to throw those down and be involved in a meaningful way. Warlock is continuing to farm. He could have TP'd up, maybe even saved that Lifestealer. This is just curious play from Warlock, and now Warlock's going to walk into Mihawk. Mihawk had 2-level advantage, also has a little bit of extra farm on top of this Warlock. Thinking about engaging, he does have teammates around, but they don't have vision. You can see they're not sure exactly where the rest of the team is. Now, Keeper Light's just going to get solo killed by Lifestealer. He doesn't mind walking up to him and putting the autos on him top lane. Tabo is going to turn around. Mihawk once again in full stalk mode. He's been creeping a lot this game as he rotates over towards the Radiant Ancients. Checking out item progression, we have Chaos Knight sitting on bracers. He did pick up his armlet, so that is a really nice pickup for him. We're 16 minutes into this first game of a best of 3 between the Peruvian side Artyk and the Brazilian side Molotov Esports. So really nice item for him so far. Baga on full support, Deeks on full support. They're rocking the wards. Warlock spent a lot of time farming. He doesn't have all too much. He has 53, not bad, but it's 1,700 gold in the bank. Not sure what he's going to want to build towards here. Lifestealer is going to get tracked off as he's trying to apply some pressure to his tower. Tower's dropping at a steady pace, not going particularly quickly, and that's going to be a problem since middle lane is being pushed out by the likes of Wisp and Chaos Knight. Relocate is available, so they're likely to make their way to top lane should any fight ensue. And 5 players on deck for Molotov. They're going to jump on top of Masuko. He's going to go down in a couple of hits from Lifestealer. Just too easy to take down for the Lifestealer right now. Double damage is up on Bounty Hunter. He gets in to apply some extra harass damage. The tier 1 is going to drop, so 1 kill and a tier 1 tower on the top lane for Molotov. Definitely a good way to assert yourself and take a solid victory. Now we have a rotation from Mihawk with a double damage. He's looking for one of these supports to just harass, it seems, but instead he's going to back up. Dust flies. It slows down. Bounty Hunter now gets hit by the concussive bolt and a stun from Yuka, and that one track is going to result in a death for Bounty Hunter. Middle lane, though, they are jumping on top of Tabo. He's going to die as well. Decides not to use the rock once again, perhaps stunned too long by the Chaos Bolt. But either way, he's holding onto that rock for dear life. Does not want to part ways with it. Bottom lane, meanwhile, Smash is farming up. He now does have a Blink Dagger as well as a gem. So an early gem pickup against Nyx Assassin. Definitely a risky pick because he has a Bounty Hunter on his own team, but I like it. It's an aggressive play style item choice, and it certainly can pan out for him if they catch out Nyx Assassin being a little bit too greedy on a couple of these engagements. Meanwhile, Chaos Knight's toggling as he took a lot of damage middle lane. Once again, we see no use of relocate, no use of Golem from Warlock. So players in this game reluctant to use those key level 6 abilities. If they had gone top, I'm not sure they would have been able to save the Bounty Hunter, but perhaps they could have made something more out of that and at least delayed the inevitable. We also see Lifestealer getting closer to finishing up his armlet. That should be up shortly. Smash is going to jump on top of Yuka here. He pops off the Dream Coil into silence, and in comes the Relocate. So finally we see Relocate come into play, and it's going to get them a kill on top of Nyx Assassin. Deeks is going to get hit by Dream Coil here, and a 2-second stun from Chaos Bolt. That's another kill. So 2 kills on a really successful gank from Artyk. And no response coming out from Molotov. At least not one that was quick enough to deter any of that play. If you're just tuning in, I'm NYJohn. This is the Dota 2 Canada Cup brought to you by Dota2.ca. We have Molotov Esports, the victors of Group A, versus Artyk, the second place finishers of Group B. Klotz in the top lane is going to get dove here. 4-second stun from the Chaos Bolt, and a whole lot of damage coming out. They're going to break out the illusions as well, and that's enough to take down the Lifestealer. He's not tanky enough to stomach all of that. Tavo TP's in, and we finally see a rock, but it's an awful rock as he TP's into his instant death. And the Golem's just going to be killed off for some extra gold on Bounty Hunter, as well as the tower going down. So I criticize him for not using the rock, and when he finally does, it is a poor use at that. And this is really not looking good for Artyk right now. We can take a look at the graphs. We see over 3,000 gold. Excuse me, not looking good for Molotov. 3,000 gold plus 5,000 gold now in favor of Artyk. 5,000 experience in favor of them as well. Molotov, who had a pretty good laning phase, need to reassert themselves now. Maybe regroup a little bit, find some semblance of a team fight. But having used that golem in such a poor way means they won't have it for 2 minutes still. And it's definitely going to hurt your teamfight potential. You're going heavy on that Warlock, having put him in a safe lane to get the farm down bottom. We'll see Yuka is going to sit here. He also has no farm, so 21 minutes in the game. Nyx Assassin, not even a Blink Dagger. Now Mihawk's going to get spotted off. He gets silenced. Yuka's going to hit him with a stun. They're going to throw the Mystic Flare on top of him. They do get a nice kill there on top of Bounty Hunter. And now it looks like Smash is just going to have to retreat. He used the Dream Coil, but Dream Coil not going to be enough to kill any of the heroes of Molotov. So they get a pickoff, which they need. They need a lot of these pickoffs in succession to be able to start working back at that gold lead that has amounted for Artyk, as well as that experience lead, which is also in effect. Looks like middle lane, they're not going to be able to push this tower, so only 1 tower down for Molotov. Meanwhile, Artyk has taken down 3. So they're winning the tower battle, they're winning the kill battle by 1, but of course, any kill they get with a Bounty Hunter in play is going to be more significant since they're getting the track gold as well. So they have a very aggressive lineup. Chaos Knight, Bounty Hunter, Puck, all aggressive heroes that want to make something happen sooner than later. Meanwhile, Molotov do have the Nikes to fall back on if the game gets super late. Also having the Warlock stun, Warlock ultimate, to have a good amount of team fight control will be nice. However, the way the game is going, they have to play very cautiously because they're dying to a lot of these 3-man, 2-man gank attempts coming out from Artyk. Artyk on the bottom lane once again. They're going to jump on top of Tavo. He gets hit by the Reality Rift. Be stunned for 2 seconds with the Chaos Bolt, but Disruption from Maga will keep him alive, and TP response is there. This is much better from the side of Molotov as they use the Demonic Purge on top of Misko, but Misko will relocate himself back to the well to stay alive for another moment and see if he can pull back a teammate with him, but nobody's TPing back to go into the action. So Misko's going to come down by himself, and the rotation was there from the rest of Artyk, and that's going to mean Molotov backing up. Yuka is now infested. He has Vendetta. He's thinking about popping that off. Mihawk has spotted him, however, and if a track catches Yuka, that's going to be a really bad position for them. And here it is. Track is going to go on Yuka right after he pops off the Vendetta. Stun comes out. It misses everybody. Klotz is going to pop out of the infest. He's going to try and do work on top of Misko. Meanwhile, Tavo's taking a lot of damage from Belial. He can't even get the rock off. It was available. He should buy back if he can and get back into this fight, but he does not have enough gold. Meanwhile, Wisp does get taken down, so they trade a Warlock who received farm in the safe lane for support. Wisp so far, Disruption is going to try and save off Yuka for a moment. Klotz turns around with open wound on Mihawk. That will net him another kill. Meanwhile, Chaos Knight getting Shadow Demon, trading heroes. At this stage, Klotz is looking for a rage, doesn't have one for a couple more seconds. Smash is faster because of the track. He will pick up the kill on Skywrath Mage. Meanwhile, Klotz with the rage active is going to turn around and try and kill off Smash here. He will net that kill. Belial now going to Reality Rift Klotz backwards. He's going to look for an armlet toggle, and it will allow him to survive. Meanwhile, stun does fly off from Yuka onto the Chaos Knight and will get them another kill. Masuka now trying to hide in the trees and juke a little bit. They're going to use the rock for a kill on Keeper of the Light at 24 minutes. Oof. I don't know about that, but it's a kill. A kill is a kill, I suppose. I was criticizing him earlier for not using it. Then he used it poorly. This time he actually gets something out of it, and we can see before that fight, Artyk had a kill lead, 13-12. Afterwards, 17-16. So 5 kills come out for Molotov in that sequence. Meanwhile, 3 kills for Artyk. So much needed team fight from Molotov. Went well for them as well. They were trading supports at one point. Neither of the carriers willing to focus each other. So Lifestealer was going for some of the supports on the side of Artyk. And now it looks like, ooh, here comes an engage in middle lane. They're going to go ahead and Reality Earth. But the stun does come out from Yuka. Nice stun to interrupt this momentum. And the Dream Coil is there as well. But Bounty Hunter is going to be the first casualty as he's taken down by Skywrath Mage. Now Smash is being pursued as well. He's dropping pretty low. Belial low as well. He's going to have to armlet toggle. Deeks is getting him pretty deep. He's going to force staff out of there. But now he's going to be turned around on Masuka, looking to try and get some damage onto him. Will not catch up in time. So ends up being just a one-man pickoff from Molotov, able to secure a kill onto Bounty Hunter. Now Yuka looks like he is Vendetta mode once again. Level 13. He still does not have much farm. 25 minutes into the game is begging for perhaps that Blink Dagger. It's the pickup we see more often now, what I'd assume out of an aggressive Nyx Assassin, especially with the Nyx on your team. The Nyx bombs would be so much more impactful if you have that Blink Dagger to initiate properly. And now Klotz is going to go on top of Masuka, and Masuka stands no chance. Klotz didn't want to chase him to the high ground, but there was no one there. He didn't have vision, of course, of any of the heroes except for these two on the side of Artyk. But wow, that was a free kill, and he just kind of handed it over. Oh, would have been a nice pickoff too. Let's take a look at item builds though. Klotz has opted to pick up the Yasha, so he is a very fast lifestealer. You're probably going to go towards the Sanj next. We'll see a couple more wards picked up by Lifestealer, who is counting his lucky stars. Smoke Gang's going to come out as they rotate towards bottom for Molotov. See if Misko can try and get the relocate off and TP Belial out of here, but they're going to get engaged on. Here's the opening from Yuka. Instead, Belial is going to get jumped on by Klotz. He's going to pop off the illusions, and Misko is going to get taken down in a moment here. There it is, the auto attacks. You see the Demonic Purge come out on Belial. Do they have anything to interrupt through BKB? They do not, and that will be enough to get him out of there. Disruption used on Baga for whatever reason, but not the biggest of deals. They can't go through that BKB quite yet. As such, he'll make it out safely. So we do get to see that BKB in play, which is the newest item acquisition for Chaos Knight. On the side of Belial, Ward's going to come down from Keeper of the Light in the jungle here. Aggressive placement. Puck, of course, already had that Blink Dagger. Now picking up an Ultimate Orb. 1,200 more gold in his bank. So working towards what's probably going to be a Scythe of Vice, which will be a very, very nice pickup for them if they can get that and be able to just use some extra disables to hold down this Lifestealer for a prolonged period of time. I mean, they're looking at only 2 real disables between Puck's Dream Coil and the Chaos Bolt, and Rage is pretty easy to use to interrupt Chaos Bolt from hitting you, so he has to be careful when he uses that as well. So this Lifestealer is pretty comfortable as he goes on top of Masuka. This time he's not going to make a blunder out of it. He's going to get the kill. Smash jumps in deep for a regen room, but he'll just casually blink away and get that. We see Klotz is going to go ahead and take down the rest of the Ancients. So this Keeper Light gets picked up pretty often. We can see he's 1-5 now. Mihawk on that Bounty Hunter, not having the greatest of times. He's 0-5-4, and only having 4 assists means they're not maximizing the use of that track. His team has 17 kills, but him only being 5 of those assists is probably a bad sign in terms of getting the most value out of that Bounty Hunter. So something to look into is getting him more involved, but in a safer capacity, maybe standing back a little bit further. Not only the track gold is amazing in those team fights, but having that extra mobility on heroes like Chaos Knight as well as Puck in the middle of the fights is so important. So having that track actively up goes a long way. We do see Blink Dagger now picked up on Nyx Assassin, so he'll have that. Warlock has had this mech for a little while now, and that's what he was trying to build towards with all that farm he was finding. Mihawk's building towards what must be a BKB. Belial, we have no indication of what he wants to go for yet. He has 1,500 gold in the bank account, and Wisp is sitting on the urn. A pretty typical Wisp build. He has a cloak as well, but not too much income for him at this stage of the game. We're unpaused now behind the tower. Smash is going to get jumped on. Klotz comes in with the open wounds. Smash is just going to delay and probably blink out of here if he hasn't used it already, and he does get to the high ground. Vendetta is popped off by Yuka now. He's behind the tower looking for something to open up on, but nothing is there. It looks like this tower is going to go down. Smash jumps in. Really risky play from Smash here as he gets forced out backwards, but won't have the blink available since he already used it. Nope, it's back up already, but the blink forward from Yuka is going to catch him off. Once again, the blinding light comes in to prevent further damage from Yuka, but Klotz is going to be here with another open wounds, and they drop the rock, and now the gem is on the deck, so they're going to go ahead and try and pick that up in a moment. TP's out, though. They're going to try and respond, so they lose a tier 2 bottom in exchange. The Chaos Knight and Wisp not opting to relocate into the fight. Instead, they just continue to push, and they will get that tower. Meanwhile, it looks like Chaos Knight is going to go ahead and use the Phantasm as well to apply extra tower to this tier 3. Stun comes out. It's going to be a little bit short of hitting the hero for Yuka. So, not really intent on initiating here, which is interesting considering they did have 3 heroes in the mix, but not having that golem, of course, is going to make these 3 heroes a little bit less impactful. Tower does get destroyed in the long run, though, by Chaos Knight, so not getting the deny, not able to take down the illusions quickly enough. That's going to be a bad look for them because of the fact that there is this mobility on Artyk, having that Wisp and that relocate. Now a susceptible Rax is going to be a big part of how Molotov had to play this, a little bit more cautiously. They have to be worried. If they lose one team fight, that could turn into a lost Rax, and certainly Artyk are going to try and cash in on that eventually. We have seen the kill lead swing into favor of Molotov as they're up 21-17 now. When we take a look at the graphs, it's sticking around 5,000 gold advantage for the Dire, around 0 in terms of experience. So pretty even game thus far between the Brazilian side Molotov and the Peruvian side Artyk. Here we have a jump. It looks like Puck is going to try and initiate on Yuka. He's a little bit hesitant to drop down that Dream Coil, as it looks like they don't have any detection since that gem is now taken by the Radiant team. In fact, let's take a look and see who has the gem. Or maybe they threw it on the courier, or maybe they left it behind. If we look at the heroes, we'll find out. Gem is on Nyx Assassin now. So Nyx Assassin is going to live and die by that gem. They're going to head towards the top lane, it looks like, in a big smoke gank. There's also a nice Nyx bomb. Going to try and get that into play. Once again, they're going to find 2 heroes out. It is the Wisp and the CK. These are 2 big heroes to pick off. If they can get these kills, they might be able to transition to a Roche attempt, but they are both TPing away down towards bottom lane. So Deeks gets spotted off. They realize something is up, and really wise play from them getting out of the danger zone. And now they're transitioning into a 3-man push down on bottom. In fact, they're all going to rotate over. So Masuka is going to make his way into the fray. We also have Smash coming down. So Smash sitting on 1,400 gold. Hasn't been getting as much farm. We can take a look at net worth, and that will show us that he's only at 8,100. He'd started off the game as the top farmer with a lot of kills to his name as well, but it definitely has tapered off a little bit as we've progressed. He's caught himself in a couple of awkward situations and has died 4 times. He's been a part of 10 of 17 kills. Meanwhile, on the flip side, if we take a look at Nyx Assassin has been a part of 13 kills and only died 3 times. So despite the fact that he was well behind in the laning phase, fell behind in CS by a wide margin, he's still having a really impactful performance. And this is the nature of the Nyx Assassin. If you get the levels, he can make something out of it. And certainly that was the case for Yuka. Even picking up 1 kill in the lane, he was able to get those levels. Belial now is going to pick up an ultimate orb. So that's going to be working towards probably a Manta, I want to say. And that will be another nice pickup. Of course, having those extra illusions is going to help the pushing effort even more so. There's a lot of map control for Artyk right now. You can see, look at these ward placements. Very aggressive. We see in the jungle here, as well as a second one placed in the jungle, and then, of course, top river spot. So they've kind of blocked off a good segment of the map. If they want to try and go for a Roshan, it wouldn't be the worst idea if they drop down a sentry in this area, maybe catch out this ward. But that's the one ward holding them off a clean Roshan attempt. The sentry did not catch it, of course. And you can see most of Molotov is on this bottom lane. Now the Infest is in play as Yuka's going to look for an opening to try and jump on somebody here. Actually, he's going to double back. So it looks like Nyx Assassin is going to split away from his team with Nyx inside of him. And the other 3 are going to stay down bottom. There just isn't a punch for these 3 really, though. They have to be careful. Anyone they find out alone, they'd have to probably use a Golem to get a kill or two, and not sure they would live through that because Chaos Knight does have a BKB, so he's blocking a lot of the damage coming out from those 3 intelligence heroes. Nyx Assassin has made his way full circle to the top lane. A couple of heroes are nearby for Artyk. This could be risky. Mihawk's in trouble, though. Mihawk's not strong enough to live through this. Bounty Hunter's going to get jumped on. Will he pop off the BKB? Not even going to waste it. Not going to use his 10-second BKB charge when he knows he's dying. And there's a TP back to the middle lane, where the tower has taken a little bit of extra damage from some illusions and a slight push from the creep wave, but no big deal. They're going to turn around and push the wave right back at him. The one thing about getting this kill on Bounty Hunters is it's not enough to create an opportunity to get a Roshan or get a tower, which is really what Molotov want right now, because they are pushed so far back on the map. Bottom lane, you can see it's pressured so hard. Having no towers left in that lane is troublesome. Meanwhile, they haven't gotten a single tower on the opponent's bottom lane, so Molotov have to try and get a team fight away from their base where they can get at least a couple of heroes picked off, not just one. Bounty Hunter, while he is impactful in the team fights, is not their primary concern right now. The Chaos Knight is their primary concern, and Puck is a close second. And Puck is now sitting on 2,400 gold. So this whole time, everyone's been sitting back and farming. Puck has made the most out of that, getting up there and getting closer to finishing off that sheep. He's about 1,000 and change away from completing it in its entirety. And that's going to be a really significant item pickup once he's able to get that. Now we do see Yuka. Looks like he really wants his Vendetta, but he's just going to blink. Had to blink. And now Belial's going to pop off the BKB. Klotz pops out of him. Misko's going to back up here. The rock is dropping. It's on top of a BKB. What a wasted rock once again. And Belial's just going to try and TP out here. And he will make it out safely. Oh my. Oh my. Tavo having a rough game. They're going to sit on top of the Wisp and wait for him to come back in. Misko's going to get jumped on here. He's going to drop. Now Mihawk comes in. He's going to pop off that BKB charge, but he's getting blocked very effectively from Yuka. Dreamcoil will slow down the pursuit, but Lifestealer will get the kill. Smash is going to have to back up since he doesn't have any further team support in the area. And meanwhile, Masuka's pushing out top lane. He's accumulating decent wealth himself. Now sitting at 2,100 gold. But that fight, oof. Nyx Assassin finding a kill on Masuka. I was just talking about how he's getting gold. Now he's losing gold. 3,200 for Nyx Assassin. I'm not sure if he wants to build towards something like a Necronomicon or if he wants to go for his own Scythe of Vice or something even more aggressive than that. We'll have to wait and see exactly what the choice is for him. But once again, let's just look at the Warlock and go, Tavo. The other day, Tavo played really well. I can't remember what heroes he was on, but I know he played well. This game struggling. They could have got that kill onto the Chaos Knight if they had just saved the rock and waited until after the BKB, but that was not the case. Bottom lane, we see Misko getting jumped on by Klotz here, and Klotz is about going to 5-shot him at this point of the game, so he goes down really quickly. Misko cannot be alone against the Lifestealer. That is going to be a bad turnout for him 99% of the time. Top lane, Belial may be in trouble here. Klotz is on a warpath. He's going to jump in on top of Belial. Belial uses the Manta to break off the open wounds, though. Klotz not giving up. He's chasing pretty deep, and there is a response from Artyk. It's going to be Puck making his way in. Was spotted off by the wards of Molotov, though, so they know he's here. And an invisible Yuka is going to blink forward. Gets the stun on one. Is Belial. He's slowed down, drained of mana. He cannot afford to use his ultimate, but will pop off the BKB. Ultimate's still on cooldown anyhow. So they'll disengage casually. Once again, another awkward situation. 5 men grouped up for Molotov. Meanwhile, a big split on Artyk. It looks like they're playing pretty confident, but I mean, Bounty Hunter doesn't have anything going for him. This Masuka is just farming and getting caught off individually throughout the entirety of the game. I'd say it's a little bit sloppy from Artyk, to be frank. A team that had a lot of high expectations to pull out the victory seamlessly. At least make it to the finals and be a part of the money, but they're definitely not having the easiest of times here. Molotov putting up a fight. Looks at this, the Rax is exposed and it's being taken down here. Glyph is not available. TP is coming in from Yuka, but Yuka goes invisible. There is a sentry placed down. Now they're thinking about initiating, but they better not. They're going to get relocated back to the base. So the power of relocate is going to get them a Rax as they chase the heroes instead of taking down the illusions. They lose a Rax, and Chaos Knight's illusions actually get a kill on Shadow Demon as well. Crazy turn of events there for that relocate to get them a melee barracks and a kill with illusions, that is best case scenario for Artyk, who are struggling right now to find something to fall back on. And now they have to be even more careful. This bottom lane is going to be pushed out that much heavier from these super creeps coming out. So I'm not sure what Molotov want to do now. They can't abandon this bottom lane. The rest of our lanes are pretty good. You can see top lane is pushed back really far. This is where Chaos Knight and Wisp are centralizing their efforts now. Middle lane is pretty even towards the river, but that top lane is really looking rough. Excuse me, that bottom lane is looking rough. So they're going to push it out a little bit, and this could be another point of the game where if you're Artyk, you're considering a Roshan. I've dropped down some sentries here. You actually have a gem, so you don't need the sentries. And set up a Roshan attempt, and Yuka with a Nyx Knife's bomb is going to go on top of the Wisp, and Wisp stand no chance to survive that one. Klotz is in pursuit of Belial, but the Manta will once again take down the open wounds. And now Klotz is going to get turned around on. We do see the sheep coming out from Smash. Klotz taking a lot of damage here. He's going to have to toggle that armlet and pray. He doesn't have Infest available. Of course, that's how he got into the fight. And just going to try and run out. But that's not going to work out for him. He turns around. He's going to try and man fight Belial now. And he's going to have to juke even better than this. He's toggling that armlet to stay just barely alive. The Chaos Bolt is going to hit. It's 3 seconds, and that's enough to get a kill onto him. So a really nice turnaround there from Puck and Belial to get a kill on Nyx, definitely making their trade not worthwhile considering they lost only a Wisp in exchange. Bottom lane track is out on Warlock. Warlock looking for an Aghanim Scepter. He's about 1,300 gold away from finishing that off. Smash, we got to see that sheep in effect in that last fight. It's a little bit late, but better late than never. And relative to the farm of these other heroes, he's still doing pretty well. I mentioned before, this is a safe lane Warlock. His farm is just not there. He has a mech at 40 minutes into the game. And that means that it did not go well for you. And having that Aghanims would mean a whole world of difference. Maybe not depending on the way they're using it right now, but in general speaking in general terms, it would mean a very big difference in these team fights. Taking a look around the map, we see Shadow Demon not doing all too much in terms of items. Nyx Assassin does pick up an ultimate orb, and here we do see the Roche attempt coming out now. So it looks like Chaos Knight is going to come into the Roche pit. He has a Hyperstone in his inventory as well. That's probably going to be towards an AC. He's getting really farmed. Still behind the Lifestealer in net worth, who already has his AC, but nonetheless significantly farmed. And that BKB has proven an invaluable tool thus far, as this Roche is going to go down without any contest at all. Belial's going to take it, and that's a nice Aegis acquisition. Here is the Aghanims coming out, so he must have had one of the pieces on the courier. So Aghanims will be in play now, and that's going to be a factor if he uses it properly. Chaos Knight pretty low on health. See if they can try and heal him up with some of these charges. Nope, they don't have any earned charges because Wisp has died so frequently. Hasn't been a part of the kills to get the assist or whatever. Meanwhile, Klotz on the top lane is going to get jumped on. There's going to be relocate develop as well. He's in a lot of trouble. The silence is there, preventing him from going into the rage. Now he will get time to rage. He's going to turn around, try and go on top of Smash. Smash is getting hit by the Mystic Flare damage. They will kill Wisp off. Yuka is going to turn around and get a Spike Carapace off to slow down Belial just a little bit. Here comes the ultimate. The rocks are dropped. Belial's getting pretty low on health, but they don't have enough speed to pursue him. Smash is low as well. He's throwing in orbs from the sideline, but they use the rock. They don't get anything out of it. The buyback comes out from Lifestealer as well. He's farming the bottom lane that's pushed in very heavily. And this is not looking good for Molotov any longer. Before this Rax had gone down, I'd say Molotov looked really solid, but now open wounds on Masuka. They're going to get a kill on Masuka, but whoop-de-doo. That's not what you need. They need the kills on this Chaos Knight before Chaos Knight gets out of hand. If we head over to our net worth, it's going to show Chaos Knight has now surpassed the Lifestealer in terms of net worth. And the threat of the relocate is giving them so much map control. He didn't even lose the Aegis there. So dropping the rock, expending a 3-minute cooldown, almost 3-minute cooldown, not getting a kill once again. This is the story of the game. This Warlock pick is holding Molotov back. On other aspects of the game, they played pretty well. You can see Klotz has had a magnificent game. Yuka playing well in the middle lane despite a really poor start. Deeks, even on the Skywrath Mage support, has had a good game. But Tavo on this Warlock just has not gone how he wanted. Relocate on the bottom. Klotz is going to get off the rage this time, though. He's going to kill off Misko. There will be no pullback. Deeks is in trouble. He gets hit by the Dream Coil, and that'll be enough to take him down. Smash is now being focused by Klotz. He's going to drop as well. Tavo is going to get hit by Disruption to save him for the moment. Klotz has another open wounds. Belial's going to have to pop off that BKB. He is slowed down by the Demonic Purge, and you can see Klotz perfectly blocking the Chaos Bolt, and now Mihawk has jumped in, but that's unfortunate for him because the gem is in play from Yuka. They're going to be able to spot him off, but instead they turn around. They're going to focus on to Belial, who throws a Chaos Bolt onto Yuka to try and slow him down. Klotz is going to get cheaped off from Smash, who bought back into the game, and now a stun comes out from Yuka to slow it down as well. Smash is going to go into the phase shift to try and survive here. Yuka loses all of his mana from a Drain Chakra. Klotz gets the last hit and will be able to kill Smash for the second time in a row. A nice team fight for Molotov there as they're able to kill off Puck twice and get a Wisp kill in the middle of that, as well as taking down the Aegis, only losing their Skywrath Mage, I believe. And you can see, look at these. Lifestealer actually getting 4 kills in that fight. So Lifestealer on an ultra kill. And this tower is going to go down as well. So this tier 2 is going to drop here from Klotz. So this is what I was talking about, getting some momentum in this bottom lane, but this could all be turned around now. Rock is available in one more second, but it looks like the side of Artyk is thinking about engaging. Deeks is walking into a really bad spot, but they're reluctant to jump on him for whatever reason. That could have been a free pick. Yuka, pretty low on mana, is going to blink forward. He has the sheep. He's going to use it on Misko. Misko going to get hit by the concussive bolt as well as the arcane bolt. They're going to try and get a pause coming out here. Oh, boy. Misko not going to survive after this pause. Once again, the 1-800 Merlini call coming out. And he's going to drop, but not having the Wisp, it's not the end of the world. I mean, they use the sheep. They're probably going to back off after this. We see this tower is being pinged. Lifestealer is just mowing through towers right now. It's getting pretty low. It looks like Masuko is hiding on the sideline here, waiting to try and get involved. Belial is ready to engage. We have Mihawk pretty low on health. He really has struggled this game as well. If I had to pick 2 heroes that maybe could have had better options in the picking phase, this Bounty Hunter and this Warlock would definitely be the 2. Nyx Assassin does finish off Wisp on the resume, and this tower pretty close to dropping. Klotz healing up a little bit here. And we do see him pick up a Basher now. He's going to have that delivered out to him in a moment. He's going to pop out the Rage, use that to kill the tower. Now they very well could focus down the Rax. The Rax is dropping pretty quickly. Where's the engage? Are they going to come in on this? Mihawk gets a track off, throws out a Shuriken that's not even going to phase him. Smash is going to get off a good Dream Coil, but gets stunned on the initiation once again. It's taken down by the Mystic Flare instantly. And that's a big death for Artyk. They don't have Smash. They don't have that sheep available. He was able to use it before he died, but not to slow down Klotz. And the Rax will go down. The melee barracks, that is. Klotz gets an open wounds onto Masuko, but he'll get stunned instantly by the Drain Mana Leak, excuse me. I like to say Drain Mana and Chakra Leak for whatever reason, but of course it is called Mana Leak. Mihawk with a gem is going to be jumped on once again. I don't know where these rocks are coming from. A rock to only kill a Demonic Purged. Oh boy, a Demonic Purged Bounty Hunter. But I guess it will help the pushing effort. They're going to all in on this push here. There are a couple heroes dead. Is there a buyback from anybody? There isn't, so maybe I am wrong. But Belial gets sheeped here, and it would be nice to have a rock to slow him down even further. It doesn't matter, he's dead. So I criticized Tavo all game, and somehow it works out. It looks like Molotov are on the verge of upsetting Artyk. Buyback comes out from Belial. He jumps on top of Yuka. Yuka gets reality rifted back towards the well, but instead it's Klotz jumping into the middle of the fight, killing off Wisp, now doing some work on top of Chaos Knight as well. Klotz standing very aggressively towards the well, is going to pick off the Skull Basher out of his bank and have that in play as well, and they're going to just try and finish off this throne. They're going to try and finish this in one quick blow. We see Smash is back in play now. He gets sheeped off by Yuka on the blink in, and he's just going to be taken out. He's a non-factor. The throne is going down. Skywrath is dead, but they don't care. The throne is dead. GG. And Molotov have upset Artyk in the first game in this best of 3. A game that was back and forth at so many different times. It was hard to really get a grasp on who had the better momentum and who had the opportunity of closing it out. But that last sequence, the team fight, getting that early kill on Puck in the middle of it, didn't allow Chaos Knight to get his full engage. We didn't even see all the illusions in the team fight. They were just so reluctant to get in there. And it was odd play from Artyk, to be frank. They just let the racks go down. They let the base go down, and that was that. Individual pickoffs, the story of the game. It put both teams in a powerful position at one point or another, but ends up netting Molotov the victory. So Molotov, the Brazilians, take down Artyk, the Peruvian, but that is not it. This is a best-of-3 series, so an opportunity for a response from Artyk. If they don't win the next game, they go home, and Molotov advance. If they win the next game, we go to a third. So be sure to stay tuned on NYJohn. This is the Dota 2 Canada Cup. If you haven't already, purchase your $1 ticket in the Dota 2 store to get inside of the game and have all this wonderful action. I know some people are complaining on the stream side for the resolution, but 720, I'm broadcasting that pretty steady frame rate. I don't really have drops, so it's your internet connection if it's not working out for you, and in which case I don't want to pull back on the resolution for people that can make the most of it. I know it's a little bit unfortunate I don't have the option to switch it, but we got to live with what we have. So sorry about that if that's affecting you, but can't do much. I'm NYJohn. Follow me at NYJohn TV on Twitter. We'll have the next game up for you as soon as it's available.